Hi everyone, this is Stacy Portugal here with more weight loss coaching on Facebook Live. And of course you can learn more by just coming to my site at stacyportugal.com. So today I wanted to talk about, could there be too much sugar in your diet? And I could spit out a bunch of stats, but at the end of the day, who cares about the stats, right? It's all around us. It's pretty obvious when you look at diabetes. That's become so prevalent in our country. Same with obesity. In fact, you can really see it in children as well. So it's hitting all sectors of our population, and it's really time to start paying attention and act now. Listen, we are parents. We are getting older. We need to start paying attention to the sugar in our diet. So, I first want to say that what I'm talking about today has really nothing to do with dairy or fruit, okay? What I'm talking about is added sugar, and I'm going to address artificial sweeteners as well. So, how do we sort of deal with the whole hidden sugar thing and being able to be satisfied without eating sugar? And here's the bottom line and just a few suggestions. And just as a reminder, if you're not on my email list, you are missing these newsletters, and it has all the information that I'm giving you plus a lot more. So here's sort of a summary of the bottom line. The first is you should be checking for added sugar in any food that you're purchasing. So any food that has a food label, you should be reading the ingredients, and you should be looking on the nutrition label under sugar, which would fall under the category of carbohydrates. My personal rule of thumb is anything that has more than 5 grams per serving, I am eating that food I'm putting limits on it. Okay, so there's a bunch of different names too for added sugar, but if you just look at the sugar on the nutrition label, that'll tell you the entire story. But there are a lot of hidden names, and I actually wrote a blog for it on my website. So you can look up all those names, and also in the newsletter, I'll give you the link for all of that. But, stuff like high fructose corn syrup, fructose, maltose, dextrose, all the oses, and then there's a bunch more. So we definitely want to be a little bit familiar with the names, but of course you don't have to memorize other names for sugar. Just look on the nutrition label and see how much sugar is in there. About 5 grams is where I know that I'm sort of proceeding with caution if it's right there or anything more. Also, there are many things that you would not think does have sugar, but it does, like enhanced water, bread, condiments, not just ketchup, but even barbecue sauce, certain teriyaki sauces, certain soy sauces might even have it. So you really, really have to be conscientious. Even oatmeals, things that we think of as being really healthy, like oatmeal or even cereal, some of these, well, all cereals are highly processed, but even oatmeals can have added sugar. So just becoming aware that there could be added sugar in any food that you're buying, not making assumptions, looking at the actual ingredients, looking at the amount, the number of grams of sugar on a nutrition label. Okay, so another suggestion is go through your pantry especially, but your refrigerator and freezer as well, and start taking note of how much stuff is really in there that has added sugar. I'm willing to bet that most of those foods that you're purchasing, especially that go in the pantry, have added sugar. So without even knowing it, sugar can be sneaking into our diet, affecting our children, and affecting us as we get older because we become more sensitive to carbohydrates oftentimes as we get older. It's not unusual. So start really paying attention. What's in my pantry, and do a clean out and a restock. So start thinking about what kind of foods do I want to restock my kitchen with. Hopefully, most of the foods that you're restocking your kitchen with are foods that are going to require refrigeration, right? They're least processed. And again, I'm not talking about dairy and I'm not talking about fruits when I'm talking about sugar. Okay, so three things so far I've mentioned to kind of give you a bottom line on sugar. The first is clean out and restock your kitchen. Also look for, as kind of a barometer, anything with more than 5 grams of sugar. That's my personal barometer. On a label, I know I'm going to proceed with caution. Also, I'm going to check for added sugar in any food I buy at any time, even if it's something from the deli at the grocery store. I want to know exactly what's in there. Oftentimes, there's hidden sugar in there as well. All right, another thing, and I know a lot of people love artificial sweeteners. They buy a lot of stuff unsweetened, and a little bit of that is really okay, just like a little bit of sugar is okay. But if you're eating an enormous amount of artificial sweeteners, you need to know that there's plenty of research that shows that your body reacts in much the same way to 0-calorie artificial sweetener products as it does to sugar. So if you're eating a lot of artificial sweeteners, I would proceed with caution and rethink. It might be causing cravings. And hey, as we've been talking about all month, the point as we're getting older is to kind of beat that bloat, conquer the cravings, and get our hormones in balance so that we can finally achieve our results, right? Get the results that you deserve. Okay, also, another bottom line strategy is to use flavor. You know, when you're cooking yourself, if you're avoiding some of these products with added sugar, begin to really flavor up whatever it is that you're cooking. Become familiar with spices, fresh and dried. Things like vanilla bean or even fresh fruit. All those kind of things are going to add the flavor that we all want in our food. And we can do it without sugar. So the last thing that I want to tell you is, this is the last strategy, is to be intentional. So what I mean by that is, if you really want that ooey gooey treat and you know it's just loaded with sugar, have it. Certainly give up all the sneaky sources and just be intentional when you want some sugar. So in other words, you know, live by that 90-10 rule that I've spoken about. 90% of your diet should be really on point, clean foods. 10% can just be those kick back and relax. Don't bother me about what's in it. I want to have my cocktails, or I want to have my dessert, or whatever it is. That's perfectly okay. So here's the strategies just quickly to review. Be intentional about your sugar consumption. If you really want that ooey gooey treat, great, but avoid the sneaky sources as much as possible. Use flavor to enhance your food as opposed to sugar. Also, avoid artificial sweeteners. If you're eating more than maybe 2 packets a day, you're probably having a lot of cravings. Also, clean out your kitchen and go ahead and restock. And really, most of those foods should be in the freezer and refrigerator. The pantry should be pretty empty. You'll see as you start giving up sugar, you'll notice that a lot of those highly processed foods come out of your diet very naturally, and you do lose the weight. That's the truth. Also, just as a guide, I go by the number 5. 5 grams of sugar is about the number that, if it's, you know, there or above, I am recognizing that that food is going to be something I'm going to eat in just a limited amount. Also, realize that there are lots of different names for added sugar, many of them ending with OSE, OS, like high fructose corn syrup, fructose. Really quickly, I also want to tell you about a study that I read about that I thought was really, really interesting. So they wanted to see if fructose itself can cause you any long-term damage to your organs, to causing chronic disease, and because we vilify high fructose corn syrup. So what they did was they did a study. Half the participants had bigger doses of high fructose corn syrup. I think this was rats, so no worries there. Half of them had high fructose corn syrup. The other half had fructose, like what you find in sugar. So it's just the natural form. And what they found long term, and this is not about weight loss, mind you, but what they found long term is that the artificial fructose was truly damaging. And the natural fructose, their health was good, if not improved. So we don't want to vilify sugar overall and apply it to fruits and vegetables. However, sometimes when it comes to losing weight, we might take a closer look at the natural sugars in your diet, like fructose and lactose, and that is the sugar that's naturally found in dairy. Anyway, so that is the scoop, thinking about could there be added sugar, more sugar than you realize in your diet, and the fact that evidence of this is all around us. So I'm not going to spit out stats. I'm going to say who gives a shit about stats. Let's get real. Let's start reading labels. Let's clean out our kitchens. Let's keep our children, ourselves, our spouses, our parents healthy. So it's really time to make a move now about sugar. And best of all, when you gain control of stuff like that, what you're going to notice is that your hormones become more balanced, and for us women over 40, can make a really big difference, not only in how we look, but how we feel. That deep down energy, the moodiness kind of goes away that you might be experiencing with menopause or post-menopause or perimenopause. So just a lot of stuff to think about. But for today, just thinking about, could there be too much sugar in your diet?